Good afternoon everyone, welcome back to another little Tenerife, Canary Islands news update. I haven't done one for a while, I have been a little bit busy. I've had the family over visiting, so it has been mad busy. Loads of great vlogs on the way on the channel. So we are due a little bit of an update. There's a few things that have gone on that I will fill you in on. I've had quite a few messages asking me various questions. Can you do another update? So here I am, time for a new little update. So we're going to start off, as we always do, with the COVID figures, COVID update, and they are on the rise at the moment. 195 new cases in the Canary Islands today, which is Monday the 28th, and 158 of them are in Tenerife, which is now in level 3. So with the high rates, we have moved back a level into level 3, so we can no longer have people inside bars and restaurants. You can only sit on the terraces, which are reduced to 50% capacity. So we have taken a bit of a step back with Tenerife. The other islands are all either in level 1 or level 2. It's Tenerife that seems to be a bit of an issue at the moment. So 158 new cases here in Tenerife, 24 in Gran Canaria, 7 in Lanzarote and 5 in Fuerteventura. The rest, La Palma, La Gomera and El Hierro, all have no new cases today. So it does give you a clear idea. Tenerife does have a bit of a problem there. We are still though cracking on with the vaccinations. They are now 24 hours a day. They are round the clock with the vaccines. Total administered now is 1.7 million doses, which is fantastic. So it is going up and up. With that, the active cases on Tenerife, 2,360, again has gone up. And the total cases across the whole of the Canaries, 2,978. So something really going on with Tenerife at the moment. Big increase here, which is a shame. Hopefully that going back into that level 3 will bring those rates down a little bit. We are going at it with the vaccines as well, so fingers crossed we can get back to where we were. But it has unfortunately taken a bad turn for Tenerife at the moment. Now with that increase, we did unfortunately miss out on going on the new UK green travel list, so we didn't make it. The Balearic Islands made it, but unfortunately we didn't. I do feel, in my opinion, Tenerife going into level 3 and those spike in cases did knock us off that green list. I do think we would have been on it had Tenerife not gone backwards and we didn't have that spike. So as it says here in the article, the Canary Islands are green with envy as holidays are allowed to the Balearics. So we are a little bit gutted. But let's hope we get on the next one, which I believe is on July 15th. The next set of green lists. Let's try and get our numbers down and get back on that list. Would be great if we can. Another bit of news that's come about, a lot of people are talking about it, discussing it, is the UK are working on a plan to allow fully vaccinated travellers without quarantine. So that would mean if you have had the full vaccination, you've had the 2 jabs, you can show it on the app or on a certificate, then you would be able to travel here, travel back home and not have to quarantine on return, which would be a massive bonus. You would have to do the tests if it was an amber country, but no quarantine. So I think that really would help our numbers. I know a lot of you don't mind paying for the tests, but you can't quarantine, you can't miss work. So let's hope that happens. There's a lot of discussion about it. I do think it will happen, but not until mid-July onwards, maybe even August. They're talking about that. Let's hope we're green by then anyway. But even if we're not, it would be great if they could come up with that system. Now, there has been a change if you are travelling to Tenerife. It was last week that you could travel here without a test. You could get through the airport without a test. You just might need one at your accommodation, which would have been likely an antigen test. That has changed as of today. The Spanish Prime Minister has come out and changed it. So you will now need to be fully vaccinated with both vaccines or have a negative PCR test to get into the country, to get into Spain or the Canary Islands from July 1st. So if you're travelling here after July 1st, you will need to either show your app with your 2 vaccinations on, or a certificate with your 2 vaccinations on to show you're fully vaccinated, or show a negative PCR test at the airport to be allowed in. So that is a big change that he's come out with there. He has said that it is due to the worryingly increasing numbers in the UK, especially with the other variant as well. So that's a new change. Do be careful of that. If you've got both vaccinations, then you're absolutely fine. Do again still check though with your accommodation, because some of the hotels, even if you've had 2 vaccinations and you get through the airport, they may still require a negative test. So do check with your accommodation as well. In terms of tests, my mum and dad have just come here they didn't need the test, but they did do it coming out. So they did a PCR test, both of them, to come here, even though they didn't need it. They paid, I believe it was £70 in Liverpool for their PCR test, even though it wasn't needed. In terms of travelling back to the UK, they have had to do the antigen test here. So they both did the test at the little medical centre next to the Arona Grand Pharmacy. They paid €35 each for that. They didn't have to queue up. They checked the day before, can we come in tomorrow? And they said, yep, no problem. You didn't have to really book in advance because it is quite quiet. So they turned up on the day, paid the 35, got the test, negative result, printed, signed document straight away, job done, in and out in about 10 or 15 minutes. Then they had to fill in the UK Traveller Locator form, which you can download online completely free. I'll leave the link in the description for that. So you'll need to download that, fill in everything, tell them where you're coming from. You do then have to attach your booking reference number for your 2 PCR tests for when you get back to the UK. So before my mum and dad went back a few days ago, they went online and booked the 2nd and 8-day PCR tests. They had to pay for them up front. When they land, they will be at home waiting for them. They used a website called tests123.co.uk, and the two tests, 2nd and 8-day, were £150. That includes posting them back and everything like that. So they've flown home to them. They will do the 2nd and 8-day and post them off. So that gives you an idea of what it's like when you go back. You need the Traveller Locator form, you need the negative antigen test, and on that form does need to be a booking reference number to show that you've booked and paid and ordered those 2 PCR tests for when you get home, for when you're quarantining for the 10 days, which they both are. So that gives you an idea of how it worked. They didn't have any problems. Obviously it's a bit of extra expenditure, but they've not had any issues with it at all so far. It's all been pretty straightforward. So in other bits of news as well, in terms of vaccinations here, they have developed an app with the EU where if you've had the vaccination in Spain, you can download it and show it on this app. So when you travel around the rest of Europe, me and my partner will have a Spanish medical app that will show our vaccinations on it, similar to the NHS app that you will have back in the UK if you're from the UK, or if you're from some of the other European countries, you may have the same app as us. It is like an EU app for the vaccine. But in other general news, the island is, believe it or not, despite all that news, very busy in my opinion. I've been to the airport every day this week delivering cars, which are busy, the cars, but the airport, crazy busy. If you ask anyone that's been to the airport the last few days, there's been no parking, there's been people queuing all up the road where they shouldn't be. It's just been absolutely crazy busy with other EU tourists as well as Brits. You have got a large influx of Czech, Polish, all of the ones I always mention. It is very, very busy now, in my opinion, and it's getting busier. Lots and lots of people arriving, which is fantastic for the island. Where they'll all go for dinner, I don't know. With all these terraces, they get full very quickly, not being allowed inside. So I think when it gets busier, people are going to struggle to find places to sit and drink and things. So in my opinion, the inside of the restaurants wasn't really the problem, but I think it's going to be something they're going to have to work out, because I think some of these bars and restaurants are going to be so full so quickly with the amount of people that are arriving. which is very nice. As I said, my car's crazy busy, which I'm thankful for. A lot of the local bars and restaurants that we go to are all busy overnight. People enjoying the football as well, which is great. People are out and about, safely enjoying it. But that is basically the up-to-date news. That is the main big change today, is he has announced, the Spanish Prime Minister, you'll need the PCR test to get in the country or to show that you've had both vaccines. So that is the main big news. So do watch that. One little bit of news that I didn't mention, or maybe not in this video, I did mention it in the last one that I did live, is that we no longer are required to wear masks outside when you can maintain the safety distance. So round and about now, if I'm walking the dog and no one's around me, I can have no mask on, which is fantastic. You do still have to wear them indoors and when you're going into shops and queues and things, or if it was very busy on the promenade, you'd need to have it on. But in general, if you can keep distance, like now when I'm walking the dog, not harming anyone, you haven't got to wear the mask, which is fantastic. I was a little bit worried that they would keep that rule in place with our high rates, but we have been granted that. We don't need to wear the masks outdoors if we can keep the distance, which is brilliant. So that is going to cap off this week's little update. I will do another one next week. We've got plenty of great videos coming up on the channel, so please do hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, drop your comments what you think of the news. I think it's a big mix. It's a big mix. We're very disappointed not to get on that UK green list, but if you are living here or you've got a business here, be thankful that we are getting other EU tourists as well. We can't just rely on the Brits, so do make the most of all the other tourists that are arriving. It could be a lot worse, but fingers crossed. There is some positive signs. Hang on in there, keep your positivity going, and I'll see you in the next update. Stride on.